USC's newest linebacker, transfer from Oklahoma State, Jordan Moore, Cody Max Brown. Mason, welcome to the Trojan family, man. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you. We've all seen your tape and are excited to have you suiting up in the Cardinal and Gold. What brought you to LA? What was the deciding factor for you?
Really it was, they weren't really flashy on my visit. And I was expecting. I went to A&M, and A&M's got great facilities. Big stadium. But USC is USC. And, coming here, being able to see the relationship with the players and the coaches and the want, to win and to win it all. I think that's something different than, some programs, they're cool with, winning a couple games, winning a bowl game. But a program that wants it all, it's really intriguing to me, and that's what I want. I want it all.
Talked about the players here. Take us a little inside the locker room for us. So obviously, the linebacker group, Coach Odom, last year with the guys, figuring out Shane Lee in there. You got a young Tackett Curtis. What's that linebacker room like so far, and what's the vibe he's giving off?
It's deep, man, and it's love. From Shane was my host on my visit. EG, I watched film with him. He brought me in. So there's no bad blood. I think having Tackett in there, a young guy. Man, he's explosive. He runs the ball. He's something I've never seen before at an age, that he's different. But we have a lot of different strengths that we bring to the table. Coach Odom's a great coach. But we have the connection we have, and I think it happens so fast. But yeah, man, I love that room. It's deep. Like everyone can play.
Bunch of weirdos linebackers too. You guys are all weird, man. I remember linebackers. There was
the
weirdest dudes linebackers, man.
No, we don't got no weirdos. Maybe that was back in the day. But, a bunch of cool guys, man.
All right.
It's cool to hear that Shane was your host on your official. I think from a media perspective, it's easy for us to be like, peg you guys against each other as maybe competing for the same spot. What's that relationship like, and what was his message to you on your official?
Really, it was just I didn't really ask him many questions about the depth in a way. But we hit off early. It was we were conversating, having a good time. I never felt there was tension. Even when he's on the field, I'm let's go, Shane, and he's doing the same for me. We've done reps together where he was at will, and just giving me tips, on the field, which is something, a lot of younger guys wouldn't do. They won't talk. So being able to have him there and he's older than me, so like I look up to him and those guys. So there's a lot of respect in that room.
You're listening to Mason Cobb on Trojans Live, and as I mentioned at the top, you're an Oklahoma State transfer, which means you've, in a pretty heated rivalry, gone against a lot of the guys that are coaching you now. What was that first couple conversations like with Coach Riley, Coach Grinch, these guys that probably liked you, looking at you in the other uniform?
Right. Yeah. No. They mentioned playing against me, my freshman and sophomore year. Coach Riley had to come to Stillwater, and he had to be incognito, just because the last time he was there, we had to put it on him in Stillwater. But yeah, man, it's cool, to talk to to Caleb and Mario and those guys and be like, yeah, man, I remember your catch, and it was a wild game. The last time he played was wild. Yeah. That's probably one of my funnest college games. So yeah, man, it's surreal, and especially to have Coach Crabtree here. He was at Oklahoma State when I was there, so that connection is there for sure.
Usually, Mason, the linebackers have their fingerprints usually all over the defense, right? It's kind of the culture you guys create that really moves the defense forward. How do you envision this group? A year last year, kind of just getting their feet wet with Coach Grinch and trying to build upon something and work something out. What do you envision this group being, and what are the pieces you see that give you hope that this thing can get going in the right direction for this defense?
The guys in this room, they have a want, to be great, not just average, and even the guys that don't get reps, they're in there watching film, extra film with Coach Odom. So just being hungry, I think, is what is pushing this group. And one thing that that really stood out to me was, can you say the last part of the question you were saying?
Well, I just want to see where do you see this group going,
right,
and some of the pieces that you think that can make this thing jump to the next level of defense.
I think it's just the trust we have. Coach Odom, and pushes that into us, and it's always about the group. It's not about an individual. Being a linebacker, you have to control the defense. You're really the quarterback. So, being to earn respect for those guys, the D line and the corners and the safeties. it's really, I would say, one of the hardest positions on defense is linebacker. Just overall knowing all the defense. So for us, we take it, with pride, to be that dog on the defense, the guy that, communicates and calls stuff. But yeah, man, I see us being, one of the best in the country, too deep. And that's just, how we present ourselves, how we carry ourselves. It's not, we're not settling with average. We're not settling with best in the Pac-12. So
yeah.
Love it. Rewinding a few years, you're from Provo, Utah. How'd you land at Oklahoma State?
Man, it was something I never seen. I went out there. It was farmland, and Provo is not really like that. It's a little bigger than that. But I just seen how close the guys were. I think that's what football is all about. It's about the connections and the brotherhood you make. And out there, man, that's all we did. We was just us. On the weekends, we'd go out and have barbecues, play volleyball sometimes and get on the game. So, that really was like, man, everyone's hanging out with each other. It doesn't matter, if win or losses, these guys are close. Yeah. I think that's important in the game.
How are you liking LA?
Man, I love it, man. It's where I feel like I should have been. I love Oklahoma State. I'm glad I went there. It's part of my journey. But I feel like I fit in here a lot more. And, there's a lot more to do out here, which I enjoy. Going to the beach. I've been to the beach a couple times.
The weather will get better, I promise. We have not given you enough beach days so far, man. Hey, it's going to get better, I promise.
65, 60 is good for me. I went to the beach. It was cold to everyone else, but I was in the water.
So are you a sandal guy then? You throw them sandals on, or you?
I'm a sandal guy.
Okay.
I don't go to the beach with shoes on.
There you go, man. I'm a sandal guy too.
Yeah.
65 and in the water. Sean, you? Pacific Ocean, 65 degrees outside? No shot.
Not yet.
With the Speedo and everything, you'll see Sean out there.
The Speedo maybe, but nah.
Speedo.
Toughness test for Mason Cobb. Man, hey, it's awesome to have you. Really looking forward to you in the center of that USC defense this year. Big season ahead for the Trojans. You can see Mason rocking, 13?
Yep, 13.
Rocking number 13 at the Coliseum. We've got a pretty good 13 on both sides of the football. Two quarterbacks. So see them both April 15th at the Coliseum. The spring game is at noon.